was just a wonderful man that I loved deeply.
And people assumed it was a lie.
She was devastated by what the media was saying about her. And she was losing everything.
It's been awesome to meet you guys, and y'all screwed me over.
What you see in the public eye is a bombshell, but behind the scenes, it's a different story.
Oh boy! Yes, I watched all that. Real time.
Welcome to Cordkillers, the show about watching the stuff you love when you want, where you want, however you want. I'm Pamela Anderson Smith. I'm Tom Merritt.
Wow. That didn't land the way you thought it was going to, did you?
No, it didn't land.
That's okay, because I'm Brian Brushwood. Hey, Bryce, tell me about this Anna Nicole Smith movie.
So that was a trailer for Netflix's upcoming documentary, Anna Nicole Smith, You Don't Know Me. It is a look back on the cultural icon that streams on Netflix May 16th. So it'll be interesting because we all of us kind of came up while Anna Nicole Smith was the biggest thing,
but at different ages. Like I was kind of prime time. I was in college. I think maybe 2 years into her pinup Playboy story, and then we all watched the awful Descent or whatever. Tom, what was your experience like watching all that?
I was living in Austin, up on Duval. In an apartment, and it kind of blends into the time of OJ and the little bit, maybe before, I guess Lorena
during,
Bobbitt,
like right around the same time.
Yeah, all of those. Or what was it? The Menendez brothers? Is that the right name?
Menendez. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
One of them. The kids who killed their parents.
It kind of all fits into that stretch of 4 or 5 years to me.
Bryce, what was your experience? Because you were, I assume, a fair bit younger.
Yeah, it would have been very, very VH1. It would have been post any of the modeling or spreads. It would have all been the TV show or the drama from then and on. So I'll be interested to see this because I don't know too much about her early work. So,
basically, pin up to all of a sudden. I think the real drama occurred when she married, I think, like an 87-year-old billionaire. Or something.
Very.
Yeah,
I mean,
older than me.
Love has many shapes. We're gonna find out more of them on May 16th.
Yeah, May 16th. I was trying to make there's been so many Pamela Anderson Lee things, and when I first saw the beginning of this, I thought it was another one, and then realized, oh wait, no, this is Anna Nicole Smith. We've moved on to a new story.
Yeah. The important part is that she was in a Naked Gun movie.
Emphasis on the movie. Let's move on to the primary target.
Okay.
Warner Media has changed the name of HBO Max to just Max. You all knew that already. You're already sending us emails about it. But the tagline is the one to watch. Warner's CEO David Zaslav says that the new influx of Discovery content that has already, in some cases, moved over, but will continue to be brought over to the new merged service, will make it the largest TV library in the world. Zaslav repeated his previous talking points that HBO Max was good at acquiring subscribers and Discovery Plus was good at retaining subscribers. So the new Max hopefully will be good at both of those things. He also said that details on sports and news elements of Max will be announced in a few months. So they're going to bring in CNN, they're going to bring in NBA through TNT, they're going to bring in hockey, but no details on that. That won't be there right at the beginning of launch. President of Streaming and Games, JB Perrett, pitched Max as having everything, so you won't need multiple services. I'm quite curious how that's going to go down. Sadly, Max will not have Star Trek, Star Wars, or Bridgerton, so your mileage on that may vary. He also talked up a redesigned UI, more stable service. I think a lot of people have complained about HBO Max's stability, so a more stable Max app will be good. Expect more genre-based hubs and user-optimized recommendations. Built-in kids profile is coming. The app color will be blue, not purple, so that you can easily confuse it with Prime and Paramount Plus. Max will take over most existing HBO Max app installs on May 23rd. So you may not have to do anything. It may just update and you got the new app. You'll see the new icon and you're all done. Some platform apps, probably some of the smart TVs, may give you a notification saying, hey, you need to go download the new one. The ad-free tier will stay. It's going to be $16 a month for the ad-free tier. It's going to be $10 a month for the ad-supported tier. Both will support 2 simultaneous HD streams. The price change comes with a new $20 a month tier that will give you 4 concurrent streams, 4K, and Dolby Atmos. And Discovery Plus, as we know, is sticking around. You can still get that for $4.99 a month. They're doing some other fun stuff like adding PayPal as a payment service, and they announced tons of content. There's that Harry Potter series is absolutely going to happen. They talked about committing to that for a decade. There's going to be a Duncan Egg series on HBO that will be called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the Hedge Knight. But a bunch of other stuff like that. But Brian, how are you taking the news that this is called Max?
I know there's some portion of our viewers that are very tired about Brian thinking about branding advice or whatever, but let me share the following. This is a weird esoteric thing, but there are only so many colors that can define a brand. Pepsi, for example, had a red, white, and blue color scheme and was trying to take on Coke, and they did not do well until they embraced one color. What color is Pepsi, Tom?
Blue.
That's correct. What color is Coke?
Red.
What color is the streaming service that you get that is red?
Netflix.
Yes. Sorry, what brand? So meanwhile, like, what was the color that was not Netflix that was blue? That was a nonsense sentence. I may be having a stroke. I apologize.
You're probably thinking about Paramount or Prime Video.
Correct.
Hulu is green.
Prime is kind of a mustard yellow or whatever.
They're going with blue.
Yeah, they're blue now.
Are they really?
Yeah.
So it's like everybody's body slamming each other.
It's like they all
Paramount
know
Plus
this
is
is
blue.
terrible.
Yeah.
And went with blue.
Okay. All right. Well,
But you know
at
what's
any rate,
sticking out? Green.
It might as well be a press release. Like think about rental car companies. What's the number one rental car company you could think of, and what color is associated with it without saying
Yellow.
its name? Tom.
Yellow.
Okay, and Bryce.
I don't rent cars.
Okay, great. Tom gets it. We all know we're talking about Hertz. Who's number 2, Tom?
Red.
That's right.
Red.
Yeah, we're all thinking about Avis. Who's number 3 or 4-ish? Give me a
Green.
and who is that?
Green is either National or
That's
Enterprise.
correct. That's correct. Yes, and yes, and then then we get into the weeds on other stuff. So it's a bold play for Max to change their color scheme, and that's the dumbest thing I can. I know this is boring stuff, but I love all of this. Also, the Max logo. First of all, when I was talking about Max being a very good name, it was mainly because it was the only name that it was a single syllable, 3 letters that had no baggage. But I must admit, I'm not sure about the color change, but I do love the fact that they designed the font in such a way that the lowercase a has that HBO circle in the middle, which is just enough to hint that HBO lives inside here, but this is a bigger, better brand. And until you read all of this, Tom, I had not considered the fact that Max also means the most. And if they're able to credibly claim the most bandwidth, the most access, like maybe do something crazy, like instead of 5 accounts, allow 6 accounts on something. Imply that it's just the most, and then take on Netflix. This is a bold move, and I totally approve of it.
JB Perrette saying, Max will have everything. You won't need multiple services. We'll have the news. We'll have the sports. We'll have the movies. We'll have the best shows. I originally made fun of that in my head because I'm like, nobody is going to settle for one streaming service because there's always going to be something on another service. Hence me making a crack about Star Wars and Bridgerton, right? But I don't think JB Perrette's saying that because he thinks people will literally believe it and just subscribe to Max. He just wants to further underline that idea of, but the one with the most, the one you want to cancel last is Max. That's where they're going for there.
I mean, so I would guess that they're not attacking Netflix, but they are directly throttling the throat of Disney Plus, where it's like, are you over 20? then you're Max. If you have kids, you're Disney Plus. And
well,
we'll
but they're
see.
adding a kid's profile and stuff. So I think what they're trying to be is like over 20, Max. Under 20, Max. Family with kids, Max. We are appropriate for everyone. Disney Plus, that's just for kids. Netflix, that's just for adults. Max has it all. That's kind of what I took from what they were saying.
Yeah, I do think they overstepped a little bit by saying it's the only one you need.
I mean, what else are they going to say? We're the best company. Like, of course they're going to say that. It's the best iPhone
none
we've
of
ever
them
made.
have ever said we're the only streaming service you need, because they understand that everybody's going to have 2 or 3. They've always said we're the essential one. We're the one you can't get rid of. We're the one with the best stuff. So coming right out and saying you don't need any other streaming services is a little bit bold and a little bit overstating.
Well, especially because we were talking about rental car companies, and in a world where Hertz was number 1, Avis embraced a totally different color scheme, and their slogan was, we're number 2, which means we try harder, we please you more, we work harder
we don't rest on our laurels.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So the fact that they're going for bold move, we'll see how it plays out.
Okay, a couple of things here. We got great emails from people because this was announced last week. E said that Brian was right. Discovery service is called Max. Andrew said, we're definitely not listening to Brian. I'm a little shocked they're dropping the HBO name. You sort of touched on that, Brian, but those are both accurate, although maybe not listening to everything you said, descriptions. Can you explain?
First of all, I would like to totally own the fact that I'm doing the sports analyst thing of just making every prediction ever, and then I could just remember the time that I'm right. But I have repeatedly talked about the value of the HBO brand, and sometimes I've talked about it in the context of that's why you should protect it, which is why I said don't call it HBO, call it Max. But if you didn't hear that, I could understand why somebody would say, Brian says the HBO brand is valuable, why wouldn't they use it for the service writ large?
Yeah. And then Russ in Houston says, I know in the past I've come down on Brian's takes, but he's spot on about Warner Brothers Discovery. And he pointed out the A having the little dot inside like the O does. He said, is this a subtle way to keep Max associated with HBO? Whenever I see that A, I instantly think of HBO because of the graphic design choice. Food for thought.
100% agreed. And it's very, very elegant. There's such an art to this part of things. I think it's great.
And then the other part I wanted to address is that I saw a lot of folks saying, oh, this is the dumbest move. How weird is it that these reality shows from Discovery are going to be on HBO Max and they're dropping the HBO name, blah, blah, blah. I personally thought this was them doing the least amount possible. They didn't change the prices. They just added a new, more expensive price to try to entice you without changing the prices. They've already added a ton of Discovery stuff that you probably didn't notice was in there if you weren't looking for it. So it's really not even changing what has been on offer. They're just changing how they display it. They're putting some of the stuff that was in the backup in the display case up front, while also making it easier to navigate by saying, let's go by genre. Let's not go by brands, so that you get a better sense that we have a wide variety of things in here and you can find the stuff you like. HBO is probably going to still be a category separately from the genres because that's a brand worth calling out on its own. And calling it Max means, oh yeah, HBO Max. It's easy to remember that that's the new name of the thing because it's not wildly different. And as Brian has attested more than once, it calls up a lot of good things about Maximum and it doesn't have a lot of baggage around it. Some people think it means Cinemax and they snicker a little bit about that, but that's not even a negative thing. So I feel like this is the least controversial move they could have made.
Yeah. On top of that, they've also laid a bit of groundwork in that many of the HBO Max originals were labeled Max Originals, not HBO Max Originals, right? So of the three of us, Bryce, Tom and I, we get to tax deduct our subscriptions and say that we're doing research and we're sort of, we're just going to subscribe to everything.
It's essential for the show. I mean, it's not even just saying it. It's essential for the show to be able to talk about the things, right?
But Bryce is somebody who actually has to decide on things. How does the rebrand land with you? Like, does it make you want more or less to buy this service?
It doesn't change it for me. It really doesn't change it for me. I subscribe to most all of these things as well, so that doesn't. A rebrand doesn't change this for me. I mean, they kind of mentioned some of the Discovery Plus is coming over, some of the content library is going to grow, but this will be one where it's like I gotta see it to believe it, and that's going to come from going in the app post update and what's new, what have you got for me, and then what does it look like in the next few months. You know, this is like, as much as this is a rebrand, this kind of doesn't wipe away all of the I don't know, not great news of like things being disappeared over the past 12 months.
Well, and on top of that, it doesn't wipe away like 10 years ago when HBO Go was notoriously awful at streaming things consistently and
but HBO
service
now,
stuff.
I guess
HBO and HBO Now and all the HBOs. Like, to be honest, I'm really glad the HBO's not in this name.
Huh.
I do think we overestimate how much people care about the bad news. I think more people are going to be surprised to find this called Max on the day that it changes over on May 23rd, because people don't follow this stuff as closely. So yes, all of us and all the people who listen to Cordkillers, we've still got the taste in our mouth from the cancellation of Batgirl and all that sort of thing. Most people are just going to be like, oh, they changed the name. Well, that's weird, and it's a different color. That sucks because now I can't find it when I'm looking for it. I'm used to looking for purple. Now I have to retrain myself. I think what it'll really come down to for all of us, though, is the graphic design. Is it usable? Is it easy to get around in? And the stability. Does it launch? Does it have the stuff? Because the content really isn't changing. As many new pieces of content that they announced, none of them were things that would have shocked me if they had announced them as HBO Max. So to me, it's like, hey, they're going down the same path on the kinds of things they're going to announce here. That's great. Looks like there's some really fun stuff coming to Max. So is it going to be usable? It's going to be easy for me to get around. It's going to look different. It's going to be different to maneuver and find things. Does it make it easier to find things? Great. Does it make it harder to find things? Bad. I think that's more what's going to affect people's opinions of Max.
Tom, that was brilliant. That is some of the best insight I've ever heard. And I'm sad that you make no money whatsoever by doing this show. That's messed up.
No. In fact, even Bryce makes money from the show, Brian.
How is that possible?
You
anybody can access this for free. There's no way to know.
Brian, you pay us the money. Where are you getting?
You're signing my check. You're signing my checks, aren't you?
Yeah,
Isn't this your blood?
Your money.
I mean, what are you proposing? There's some kind of magical service.
I mean, are you just doing this out of the kindness of your heart, Brian?
I mean, if there was such a magical service, it would be called patreon.com, and we would have a website called patreon.com/Cordkillers where you could keep us loud, live, and independent for 12 years and counting? How long has it been, Tom?
It's been 9 years, and this is our 10th year of Cordkillers.
And that's only this iteration of the show.
Yeah. If you count frame rate, it's longer. Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it's more like 13.
Patreon.com/Cordkillers. Keep us loud, live, and independent. Get your own RSS feed. You'll be able to get exclusive access to our super secret clubhouse meeting that we have at the end of every single night that we do this, called After Talk. That's it. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. And Bryce will be able to upgrade to Max. Yeah.
Yeah, I can get 4 concurrent streams. Hey, I'll share them with you.
That's out there. That's out there. At least one person, one new sign up at patreon.com/Cordkillers. Write us at cordkillers@gmail.com. And we promise that Bryce will share his password with one of you.
This is not a sweepstakes, no purchase necessary, all the legal stuff. Okay.
Yes, thank you, Bryce.
Of course.
What a value add.
Let's talk about how to watch on Bryce's account. Folks, remember back in March when Netflix pulled off a massive live streaming event with Chris Rock? It was a news-making event. Everybody was streaming in. The stream went great. Sunday, Netflix blew all that away. A live reunion special for the cast of the reality show Love is Blind was first delayed and then eventually canceled. Netflix proceeded to record the special and post it on demand afterwards, apparently 19 hours afterwards. But it never did stream it live. Although there's some reports that some people were able to watch it live. The majority of people did not see this thing live. The stream started at 8 p.m. Reportedly, there were a few people in the U.S. could see it, but most people could not. So Netflix posted they would delay streaming 15 minutes. That stretched to an hour and a half, at which point Netflix posted, to everyone who stayed up late, woke up early, gave up their Sunday afternoon, we are incredibly sorry that the Love is Blind live reunion did not turn out as we planned. We're filming it now, and we'll have it on Netflix as soon as humanly possible. Again, thank you and sorry. Now, it took them until 12 Pacific Monday to get this up. They failed on live. And we talked about this on Daily Tech News Show, and Justin Robert Young pointed out, he's like, no one cares if you get a live stream right. That's what they expect. But no one forgives when it goes down and you wanted to watch it, which is what is happening with Love is Blind. Some people are like, well, I'm not even going to watch it now. I'm so mad.
This is wild speculation on my part, Tom, but if you were to place a bet behind the scenes, speculation, would you say this is quite simply, it wasn't the Super Bowl of comedy, therefore fewer resources were dedicated to it, therefore things didn't go great?
I doubt it, but because usually that's what everyone thinks is like, they should have ordered more capacity. They should have had more servers. They should have anticipated the proper demand, right? I don't think that's usually the problem. There is some provisioning involved, and you don't want to over provision because it's too expensive. So you try to get close to what you're expecting with a little margin. But I went and I asked somebody who works in live streaming what the possible or probable causes in their opinion were. And they gave me two likely possibilities. The first would be just a connectivity failure from the studio. So that would be a thing that's like, it isn't necessarily anybody's fault. Connectivity problems happen. And if there was a connectivity problem coming out of the studio where they were recording, that could explain why they were able to record it for VOD, but couldn't stream. So maybe there was just a problem there, and that could be a vendor, it could be just a glitch, who knows. However, if it's true that some people were able to see it live, it probably wasn't connectivity coming out of the studio. So the second likely possibility is that it failed at the point where they fan it out to what's called CDNs, content distribution networks. I won't go too far down this hole, but you don't have one Netflix server serving out the video to everybody. You have content distribution networks that scatter millions, probably, certainly hundreds of thousands of servers around the globe, so that there's a server fairly near you that's serving you live streams. That's easy to manage when it's on demand. You just copy them out and then they're available. When it's live, you have to fan all those streams out to all those CDNs at the same time. They would have to encode and package it before distributing it. And something in that part of process could have failed and allowed some people to see it. It was like working with one CDN maybe, but not with all of them. This person said there's a technology called an origin shield that exists between the primary feed of encoders and the CDN. I'd look there to see if some were getting it and some were not, or if there was intermittent behavior. So it seems likely that something happened in the distribution network. Now there, it becomes a question of, again, not capacity, because Netflix has a huge CDN network and they don't have a capacity problem. The question is, did they improperly encode? Did they not install? Did they not have it configured? Was there a configuration error, et cetera, et cetera? And again, that could be internal, it could be a vendor. It's hard to say.
Here's what it seems like to me. I would not evaluate the likelihood of trouble the same for this program as for the Chris Rock program. I would imagine that they would have redundancies on redundancies on redundancies to make sure that their very first, very, very major live stream stayed live. I would imagine that what we're seeing is the very first of a scalable, ongoing, long-term program. And this would be the first program that was under that regime, and that it happened to fail on launch.
Right. In other words, they had a different team doing this than we're doing the
or maybe even
Chris
parts
Rock
of the
one.
same team, but just not as much redundancy, not as much what if.
The rumor thing that I heard, very grain of salt, was that a lot of junior coding talent at Netflix recently moved up, and maybe older, more expensive personnel had recently been let go. So there may be some, just a people issue potentially.
Somebody he made a change without realizing the effects of the change or something like that. Yeah. It's possible that could be done by an older coder too, but yeah, it becomes more possible the less experience in the room. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. I rather like the idea that, that everybody acknowledged, hypothetically, Brian speculating, that the Chris Rock experience was not scalable, but this might be. And the only way to find out whether or not it is to try it.
Yeah. And all of these possible speculations from my industry insider, from Brian and Bryce and myself, they're all speculation because Netflix hasn't said, and I doubt we hear them say. Now, again, we talked about it on DTNS, and so I'll steal one of Justin's lines. He's like, as a journalist, keep an eye out. If a couple of weeks down the road, there's some leak about some vendor, contractor, agency being bad, then it wasn't Netflix's fault. They might have brought in some outside help that failed them. But if you never hear about it again, it was probably an internal issue.
That's fascinating. This is the moment that I realized that I might be slightly more jaded than Justin, because I would imagine even if it was their fault, they would find somebody they would write a check for somebody to throw under the bus.
Wow.
No, you think that, and then leak out something about it anyway. Yeah. That's not entirely impossible, I suppose.
I went and watched the reunion, just the beginning of it and a little bit of it. It didn't seem like not being live affected absolutely anything at all about that program. I bet there will be some executive who says, we didn't even do it live and everybody talked about it. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this just kills live streaming, if only because they now have this control of, we hyped up a thing, but we didn't even do it live.
It might
and
kill
now all
it
these
for
people
this
are still
genre.
watching.
Yeah.
Because even the Chris Rock thing wasn't exactly interactive. It was just live. You don't know what will happen, but it wasn't interactive or anything.
Well, and plus also they successfully pulled off like actual live. And what did they get? They got all the newspaper headlines saying Chris Rock messed up one joke, and then they edited it out later on. I wouldn't be surprised if we see something closer to the way they do the Tonight Show or the Late Show or whatever, where it's, recorded a couple hours early. There's a little nips and tucks, and it's pretty much live.
Yeah, I mean, that's how they've done their talk shows on Netflix. But I know Netflix wants to make live be a thing that they can distinguish themselves with. That's why they did Chris Rock. That's why this was their second one, because they are on the hook to stream the SAG Awards live, and they would like to do other
that
award
would
shows
have to be live. Yeah.
And they would like to do other award shows, other events, possibly sports. I know they're cagey about sports, but remember they've said if we get the right control, we'll do it, and then they would want that to be live.
Yeah. And I guess with the live element, if you can do it, there's not a downside to doing it, right? Because one of the other guys who does all these reality show things was on his radio show today saying like, well, you just can't do it live. We record these long segments and we edit them down. There's a lot of shaping that goes. It's like, okay, well, you could do both. Like if you're Netflix, you could just do both.
That's why they were doing the reunion show live, not the rest of it live. Yeah. I don't know. This is probably not fatal to Netflix's live streaming, but they're going to have to pull off something else before the SAG Awards, I would expect, live to clear the air and say, yes, we can do it. Because this wasn't just a situation where it wasn't streaming well. It was a situation where it didn't stream at all for most people. Like it wasn't just like, oh, I was watching it and then it crapped out and it got pixely. I've had that where like that's capacity, right? That's where it's like, oh, there's too many people trying to watch. It's all stuttery. This just didn't work. So it was a more fatal error than that.
Yes, but also a fatal error on a lesser property than Chris Rock.
It was a smart move to make your second one this.
Love is Blind is big though. This was a big whiff. I mean, a lot of people like that.
Big whiff, but one that you could recover from with an on-demand version that would still satisfy most of the audience. Probably wasn't staying up to watch it live if it wasn't convenient in their time zone. So, yeah. All right, let's talk about what to watch in Under Surveillance.
Like real estate, it's all about location.
Under Surveillance. Peacock released a trailer for its 3-part series, The Continental, which is set in the John Wick universe. Colin Waddell plays a young version of the character that is played by Ian McShane in the movies. Mel Gibson plays a character called Cormac, though he's not in the teaser. The series is coming this September. What do you think, Brian?
Man, that's so weird that Mel Gibson, he's a big name, right? And he wasn't in the teaser?
Not in the teaser, no.
Huh.
They did not want people talking about Mel Gibson. They wanted people talking about Colin Waddell.
Right. I watched the trailer. It looked very milquetoast. And keep in mind, I have not invested into the John Wick series yet. I'm very much looking forward to it. Everybody says good things, but it felt like all they wanted us to remember is the words John Wick and no other names that begin with M and G.
No, definitely not. I am a fan of the John Wick movies. I am very curious on the backstory of Ian McShane's character. I love that this is kind of, a retro piece. We're going to see the origin of the hotel. I also, one of the charms of John Wick is that it is entirely unbelievable. So I'm a little curious how you make a backstory of a ridiculous concept work. And there are ways to do that. But I didn't see any clues to how they're going to do that. This was more just, here's the feel.
Yeah, exactly. The having not watched any John Wick anything, all I know is that there's something about the pacing and the action that's over the top and lyrical and musical. I suspect that's what they're trying to communicate to the audience.
Yeah.
It'll just happen to be in old times.
The Continental itself is the neutral ground, right? It's the hotel where all the various competing factions go, and they can hang out and relax and not worry that they're going to assassinate each other. And so, it is an intriguing thing. How does something like that even come about?
Yeah.
Marvel released a trailer for The Marvels, coming to theaters November 10th. I have to say that as somebody who liked the Ms. Marvel TV series, that was the best part of this trailer, was seeing her in the movie universe and interacting with Captain Marvel and the rest. What did you think, Brian?
Tom, what if I told you there was going to be like a 3-person crossover in an MCU property, and one will be utterly adorable, unironically joyful, and beloved by everyone? It's going to be a lighthearted, almost comic romp with a lot of awesome action, energy, set pieces. And what if I told you that Brie Larson was going to be in it?
I like Brie Larson. So you're saying you're barking up the wrong tree. What are you trying to say?
I'm saying that I find her joyless and unpleasant to watch.
Okay, so you're not going to like anything she said. I get it.
Well, wait. It was curious to me because Captain Marvel was not pitched as a comedic, joyful romp, and as a result, it made sense that Brie Larson did not portray a comedic, joyful character. This is being portrayed in the trailer as a comedic, joyful romp, and I have not seen joyful. I don't know if Brie Larson is capable of joy, Tom.
But Captain Marvel doesn't have to be the joyful one. They can be the foil.
Yes. Having seen Captain Marvel, I saw a lot of people trying to bring joy, and I saw it shut down by Brie Larson.
All right. I think we're clear on your feelings around Brie Larson.
It turns out she's like our #1 patron.
She goes under the name of Brian's biggest fan on our Patreon.
Oh, that would crush me. I'm sorry, Brie Larson. I'm very, very sorry. Brie Larson.
See, you're making fun of her name now too, jeez.
Well, that was you. I was copying. Oh, man.
Brie Larson.
We didn't have it in the lineup, but Guardians of the Galaxy, a bunch of teaser trailers. I threw it down in the notes down there. So since we're talking about Marvel, though, how is your temperature on Guardians 3?
You know what? If you had put it in the list, I would have watched it under duress. But because Guardians of the Galaxy is precious to me, you and I experienced the first movie, and that was one of the most magical, like top 20 movie viewing experiences I've ever had. So I'm intentionally not looking because I know for sure I'm going to go see it. Next time, if you want me to watch a trailer, force me to do it by putting it in the doc.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to, but since we were talking about Marvel, I just wanted to check your temperature on that.
I'll be really curious. I assume that'll be an interesting one because James Gunn is leaving Marvel to, head up DC. I wonder how much emphasis on closure there's going to be in that.
Yeah. There's supposed to be some on that, but obviously Feige wants to keep these characters around. So Disney released a teaser for the Muppets Mayhem series coming to Disney Plus May 10th. Follows Dr. Teeth and the Electric Mayhem recording a studio album. So it's kind of a faux rockumentary.
Yeah, which at first when the biggest risk factor I see on this, Tom, and tell me if you agree, is it looks like it's leaning very heavily on a lot of cameos and people who it looks like it relies on a lot of people who are not known for awesome comedic timing and excellent insights of pop culture stuff.
It's like it's trying to do the Muppet Show thing, right? Of like having the crazy cameo
or the Muppets, like the Muppets was truly magical. I keep on rewatching it again and again and again. The one that Brett McKenzie won an Academy Award for. It's so good. There's nothing about this framework that scares me off from it, but that's a heavy load that they're like. Even the reference to Twitter already kind of sounds dated, given how Twitter is kind of broken.
Yeah. All right. Well, folks, let's talk about what we've had our eyes on. Brian, what have you been watching with your eyes?
Tom, I had an experience that I've not had in over a decade. Now, having kids makes it difficult. Real quick, anybody on the fence about having kids, you worry about like whether or not you'll get to do whatever you want. You'll still get to do whatever you want. You'll just figure out real quick what the bottom 20% of things are that you want to do. And I found out that going to live concerts and discovering new bands was on my bottom 20%. We had a friend in town who took me to a live venue, and I'm tempted to not even say who it was. But I watched for the first time in over a decade a live music performance, and I stayed the entire time. And I became an instant mega fan. It was unreal. And part of the reason I'm not even saying who it was is because there is absolutely no way any recording, any video, anything could capture what I experienced second row in at that show. So I guess I'm just giving a shouts out to maybe see a live performance because they're special for a reason.
Why you got to do this, Brian?
What?
Well, because I stayed home and watched a streaming version of live music.
You watched a concert on video.
I watched a concert on YouTube, Brian, from my couch.
Okay.
No, I'm only half kidding. I have actually been enjoying live entertainment lately too. But over the weekend, I watched the Coachella live streams on YouTube, Couchella, where you watch it from your couch. This year, as we mentioned previously on Cordkillers, much more expanded. 6 channels, one for each stage. There was one stage that was not streamed, but apparently that one might get streamed next week because it's a 2-weekend affair. But I've been doing this since they started doing Coachella, and every year they improve it. Every year it gets a little better. And this year, it was the best it's been. Not perfect, but the best it's been, where I could just look at the actual Coachella schedule, see if somebody like Uncle Waffles was on a stage, say, oh, they're on the Sahara stage, go to the YouTube Coachella channel, find the Sahara stage stream, start it, and there would be Uncle Waffles. So you could just follow the actual thing and not have to guess like, oh, is it on channel 1 or channel 2? And which ones are tape delayed and which ones aren't? Because everything was on there. Everything was streamed live when there was live. They did some replays when there was nothing live. with a couple of exceptions. The most notable being Frank Ocean, which I've heard 100 different explanations of why he was not streamed live. Some people have said, oh, that one was never going to get streamed live. They just did a bad job messaging it. Other people said, no. He, at the last minute, pulled his consent for streaming live. Whatever the reason, Frank Ocean was the headliner on Sunday night, the last night of the weekend. He was not streamed live. Everything else was, though, that I wanted to see. So I thought this was a really good way, short of going in person and experiencing the live music. If you can't do that, this was a great way to enjoy Coachella. It's the best I've enjoyed it ever since I started watching it. Yeah.
Now, real quick, just to clarify, everybody you watched on Coachella was somebody you were familiar with, right?
No. I definitely had people I wanted to see, like Blackpink. But then Uncle Waffles was somebody I just discovered. I was like, there's nobody I know here. Let me just flip through these channels till I find somebody interesting, and then I watch the whole show.
Well, I stand corrected.
Yeah. And now I am a fan of new things.
I really want to say who it is, but I'm not going to. Now it's a mystery. We'll talk about it in After Talk.
You wanted to say who what is?
The live show that I saw.
He's still thinking about his own secret.
Yeah.
Got it. All right. Yeah. So After Talk to find that out and who my favorite Coachella stream was.
Nice.
Folks, we have Bryce on the lookout for things all the time.
Hello, everybody. I got to pick. This is. I was pushed to finish this after hearing your recommendation about it, Tom. But I'm letting you guys know about Beef on Netflix. This is the comedy drama thriller with Steven Yeun and Ali Wong about two angry people who get into a very minor road rage incident and just completely lose their mind. They both get caught on the wrong day, and it escalates. It reminds me a lot of the increasingly poor decisions of Todd Margaret. Just wow, you're just making things way worse. But I think this is really interesting. This is A24 also producing this, so it feels, I don't know, it doesn't even feel Netflixy. It feels a little better than that.
It does.
Yeah.
I would describe Beef as a small, butterfly flapping its wings incident. And at every point when there's two decisions you would definitely consider, they will always make the choice that you shouldn't make. And then that's how they exploded out.
Of all the splintered realities, this is the worst one.
The worst possible reality.
Very A24 in keeping with Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. There's one season out now with 10 episodes on Netflix. They've said that they've got ideas for how they could do it as a 3-season story. But even if they don't do that, I think you got something full with this one season. So highly recommended from myself. It's called Beef. It's streaming on Netflix. If you've got something we should be on the lookout for, please email it to us. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com, or check the show notes wherever you're enjoying this. Thank you.
Hey, Bryce, before we move on,
Yes,
I trust both you and Tom on this, so chime in. Is this my 15-year-old daughter Josie inclusion or no?
I never know, because there's violence and there's sexy stuff. Not like there's
Explicit? Or
I mean, it's Netflix.
Language or actual sensual eroticism?
I mean,
the latter.
Okay. Man, that might be awkward. Yeah. Hey, do you know, guys? I didn't want to make a big deal about this, but I dove down a deep well on the internet, and I found out. Did you know that every single desktop and laptop in the entire universe is set to explode in about 2 months? And this is true because we're going into the ad segment, and you're not allowed to lie during ads. But every single laptop and desktop, if you're seeing this on any kind of device that's a laptop or a desktop, it's going to explode in exactly 2 months, according to the website that I read. And the only people who refused to sign the agreement in this bizarre, catastrophic cabal were our friends over at doghousesystems.com.
Oh, my goodness.
So, I mean, I don't want to compare this to the Y2K problem, but it's like your computer's gonna explode. And the only way to save your family, to keep alive, to also, I guess, maybe financially support us here at Cordkillers, is to go to doghousesystems.com/rogue. Spell it right, ROGUE. Make sure to use promo code ROGUE at checkout. Get a new computer, you'll get a discount, you'll get some extra stuff. It'll be great. But mainly, just when you go to sleep tonight, just consider how close you are to any exploding laptop or desktop.
Yeah.
And you know this is real because it's an ad, and I cannot lie.
Yeah, and he did read it somewhere. A Daily Tech News Show commits to investigating this, finding out more about it.
Please. I look forward to next week hearing what you guys have found out.
But while we look at whether it should be reported or not on Daily Tech News Show, do you want to take that chance?
Wait, no, I do not.
There's no laughing matter, Brian. People's houses are going to catch on fire.
Yeah. No, that's not a laugh. I don't know why I'm laughing. Maybe I'm laughing out of fear. You know, a fight or flight response.
You're laughing in the face of danger. That's because you know you have a doghouse system, right? That's why you're laughing.
Yes. Yeah.
Because we'll be fine here. 1, 2, 3. We'll be fine here.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
We'll be fine here.
Yeah. Hey,
Okay.
man. Who wants free stuff? We give away free stuff all the time. If you go to gimme.scamstuff.com, GIMME .scamstuff.com, then we'll enter you into our regular drawings. I think this week we're giving away a build your own padlock thing. But more importantly, you'll be hearing from me via a little thing called an email. Tom, you hear these?
What emails?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Keep you up to date.
I've been wanting to experiment with that.
What are they gonna? You're gonna be telling me about like your haircut? You mean like no?
Oh,
haircut,
no,
or like,
I'm gonna tell you about good
how the
stuff,
wings are.
like the fact that World's Greatest Con season 3 is now out, and episode 3
What?
just dropped 24
What?
hours ago. That's the kind of thing I'll let you.
Does it
know
have
about.
demons?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's
Does it have demons?
demonic. Yeah, no, it's titled demonic for a very good reason.
All right, that's it.
If
Tom
you know,
confirmation.
you know.
There is demons in the world's greatest con.
Yep.
There you go.
Confirmed.
Go get it, folks. Let's move
there
on to
are-
the front lines.
There are flammable demons in your computer.
YouTube announced pricing for next season's NFL Sunday Ticket, which is moving from DirecTV to YouTube and YouTube TV. The short version is that it will be more expensive. You're not surprised. Here's the longer version. If you're a YouTube TV subscriber already at $73 a month, you'll get a discount if you sign up by June 6th. After June 6th, YouTube TV subscribers, the standard price will be $349 or $389 a year. If you want Red Zone, the channel that shows you important plays of all the games underway, Red Zone is an extra is included in that $349 in that $389. So it's $349 for just NFL Sunday Ticket, $389 for Red Zone. Red Zone is also available without Sunday Ticket for $10.99 a month. If you just want to add Sunday Ticket to YouTube without getting YouTube TV, it's $100 a month more.
Oh,
So
Per season.
YouTube TV,
Wait,
yeah,
the-
YouTube TV is $73 a month. It's $100 more for Sunday Ticket. Just say it.
$249 a month?
No,
Wait,
no,
or-
for the season. For the season.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you were right. For the season.
Okay. But still, that's still a lot. That's,
Meanwhile, Google has expanded its free ad-supported TV or fast listing, free ad-supported TV or fast listings on Google TV interface. If you have a device running Google TV, you can find more than 800 live channels now in its guide interface. They include news channels from major broadcasters, free channels from Tubi, Pluto TV, Plex, Haystack News, and if you pay for the service like Sling TV, then you have piped in some over-the-air channels from an antenna. Those channels will show up as well. A similar TV guide and free channels will come to some Android devices later this year.
Yeah, that's a nice looking interface. And people, you know what? It's funny. We're going back to the grid. Everybody's like, we don't have to use the grid anymore. Turns out the grid was there.
How much of that is that we love the grid, and how much of it is that we love the smug satisfaction of feeling like we finally have killed cable right in the neck?
I think it's because the grid works. I really do. Because Sling had like 15 different ways of avoiding the grid before it finally was like, all right, fine. People just want a grid. Maybe it is just what we're used to. I don't think it has so much to do with the Schadenfreude as familiarity. AMC Plus plans to offer an ad-supported tier later this year. It will have the same content as paid plans and promises minimal ad interruptions for movies. So there might be one mid-roll or one before, but they say they're not going to disrupt all of the things.
Yeah.
And I guess it's not necessarily going to be free, although that'd be brilliant. Yeah.
Well, I guess with details scant, I don't want to speculate too hard on that one.
Kim Kelleher, the company's chief commercial offering, said it will feature a light ad load, but did not say if it would have a price attached to it. So more details to come.
Apple has signed a multi-year deal with Canal Plus to provide Apple TV originals to Canal Plus subscribers in Europe. They'll be part of the Canal Plus subscription and not an add-on. Some shows like The Morning Show, Foundation, and Tehran will be broadcasted on Canal Plus premium TV channels. And if Canal Plus subscriber accesses Apple TV's app, they won't be able to get the shows there without paying for Apple TV Plus. Apple VP of Services Eddie Q says, quote, "It's a many years thing and hopefully something that lasts forever in my mind." And Apple TV 4K added a multi-view feature for Apple TV streams that's in beta, and you can turn it on in settings. It's useful if you want to watch multiple soccer games at once, for instance.
I think this is fascinating. This is Apple saying, yeah, we'd love to make money off of Apple TV Plus, but we would also like to just make money off of all of this content we're creating. And so we'll put it out on Canal Plus. I guess Apple doesn't think that's going to undermine their subscriptions because they probably figure that's two different audiences.
What?
There's the audience with the wire in the back of their TV, and there's the audience that watches on an Apple TV attached to their TV.
Apple TV Plus content is also kind of curious in that with the example of Ted Lasso, watching it with Josie, my 15-year-old, she was like, I don't understand why all of the FaceTimes are so weird. Like why is a kid holding the phone properly? That doesn't happen. And I was like, you ever notice that all the devices are Apple devices? And for a company that notoriously does not pay for placement, it seems like there's some back end for Apple content to get out there into the universe.
Yeah, that doesn't hurt. But I honestly think they're just like, yeah, we'll get our shows out there in front of people too. Like, it's not just the devices in the shows. It's also people watching on Canal Plus, then eventually canceling cable and being like, where do I find that show? The Morning Show. I really enjoyed it. Oh, I can get it at Apple TV Plus. Yeah, I don't know. Seems smart to me. And another revenue source for Apple. All right, a few other notes here. Prime Video renewed A League of Their Own for a 4-episode second and final season. Paramount Plus will screen the last 2 episodes of Picard at 10 IMAX theaters in the US. If you want to see them all in big surround video. Peacock launched an app for the MetaQuest 2, so you can watch shows in a virtual theater on the virtual reality headset, similar to what other streaming services like Netflix offer. Sylvester Stallone's Balboa Pictures has signed a multi-year deal with Amazon for first looks rights to film and TV projects. HBO released a trailer for The Idol, a series about a pop star starring Lily Rose Depp and The Weeknd. That will premiere June 4th at 9 p.m. WGA voted to authorize a strike if no deal is reached by May 1st. They last authorized a strike in 2017, did not strike at that point. The last strike they enacted was 2007. That's the famous one that lasted for 100 days and gave rise to the cancellation of a lot of shows like The Pie Man.
And also the destruction of franchises that, like Lost, barely made it through all of that. If you were going to place a bet, both of you guys, Tom, Bryce, do you think that they're actually going to strike, or do you think that this is just them front-loading a credible threat?
If I had to guess, I think they intend to strike. I don't think it's just front-loading, but I don't think they will have to.
Yeah, this was a very scary story in the big breaking news thing on Deadline, but the fact that they have authorized this before, and they haven't even done that strike. That last strike was so long ago. I think everyone remembers how important it is to get a deal done.
Nobody wants to see all of our late night hosts grow beards again.
Oh my God.
That was dramatic.
You authorize
James Corden's going to get run
this.
over. Have you seen the clips of him on the street? He's going to get run over if they keep having to do this. Let them write something for real for him.
Yeah. You authorize the strike to show you're serious, to focus the mind so you get a deal. Yeah. And I feel like that is what is going on.
So when you mentioned the Picard finales, Tom, you put it in the context of high fidelity and awesome sound, but to me, it's got to be more of a cultural thing. Like I would love to watch the last two of these surrounded by other fans of the Star Trek franchise.
Oh, sure. That's a huge part of it. Yeah. I mean, you don't put them in IMAX if it's not for like also getting the crazy cool surround and everything. But the community is a huge part of that.
Per the websites, the cities are Atlanta, Chicago, Dallas, Fort Worth, Los Angeles, New York, Orlando, Phoenix, San Francisco, Seattle, and Washington, D.C. I don't see Austin there, and I don't want to drive to Dallas. Tom, what about you? Will you go see this?
You should fly to L.A. and we'll go see it here.
Oh, what have you done? What have you done, Tom? Patreon.com/Cordkillers is where everybody needs to go right now. What have you done, Tom? I still have not seen your new house from half a decade ago.
Yeah.
Oh, my
new old house.
Oh, that would be so great. Oh.
What is that again? Yeah, we'll
and we'll make content or something for you. I mean,
also content. Yeah, exactly.
Don't just give us money for travel.
All right, let's go to the dispatches from the front. Of course, we talked about most of the emails about Max when we talked about HBO Max changing to Max earlier, but one more email from that Charlie dude who was talking about rental movie prices. For brand new movies that are in between theater and streaming runs, I've seen prices between $5.99 up to $20 for early releases. I got mad at myself during the Easter weekend. We went to rent a movie and I noticed there was a special for the movie and it was renting at 99 cents. But it was late and we didn't want to watch it then. And we were going to watch it the next day. So I waited to rent it, and the price jumped back up to $5.99 on Prime Video.
I would be curious to know if this was straight up a timing thing or maybe Tom, you can tell me if I'm right or not, but like you can make a website show you one price the first time you look at it, and then if the cookies say you're
Amazon
coming back, then it's
absolutely
like, well,
does
now
that
you've
on
decided.
its retail. Yeah. I'm curious if that's the case. And also, don't forget, you usually get 48 hours. It varies from service to service. You get 48 hours to start your rental. So even though he wasn't going to watch it till the next day, he would have been fine.
Ooh, that's actually, that's a good prompt. If you guys want to write us at cordkillers@gmail.com, let us know about weird pricing fluctuations that you've experienced like this.
Oh, yeah.
Because I would love to get some more insight, boots on the ground, as to dynamic pricing on this stuff.
Excellent. Thank you, that Charlie dude. And thanks everybody for watching and supporting us. Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on twitch.tv/Night Attack Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey, Tom Merritt, what's going on?
I'm just hanging out here watching this scroll go by. What are you doing?
Trying to set up a bit where we thank our beautiful, beautiful patrons, all these wonderful names.
I'm sorry, I'm too distracted looking at these beautiful, beautiful patron names going by. Look at that one. I mean, if you wanted to be one of these people, patreon.com/Cordkillers would be the place to go.
I mean, they're scratching our itch, like, because we're addicted.
As long as it's consensual, like,
we're addicted to their money.
And love. Might as well face it.
Well, God damn it.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.